So, we've talked about quite a bit of creepy Ocarina of Time stuff on this channel. The Forest Temple, the Shadow Temple, and the Bottom of the Well. But you guys already know about those places. I mean, they're required that you enter and complete these places before you can progress any further in the game. But what about optional creepy places? What about places that are obscure and well hidden? What about a specific place that took me over 20 years to discover? You may be asking yourself, what could be this mysterious place I'm referring to? You're probably scoffing, saying to yourself, ha, I know every place in Ocarina of Time. I've combed the entire map. There's nothing this Yahoo on YouTube can tell me that will surprise me. Well, maybe you know about it, but perhaps you don't. And judging by Google searches, there's some who do and a lot who don't. So hopefully this is new to you. Or if you're just someone who likes knowing you're not the only person who found this place and you're not going mad, well, I'm glad I can help. Did you ever go into Zora's Fountain, the subsection of Zora's Domain as Adult Link, and peer out over the frozen lake to see a ledge that seemed very out of reach? I've got to be honest with you guys, I've been playing this game since 1998 and was either not really that observant or I just didn't notice it as a kid. Maybe I did, I don't quite remember. So during my most recent playthrough, which was the one that I recorded for my past 3 creepy videos, so I decided to save getting Farore's wind from the Great Fairy over here until the end of the game before facing off against Ganondorf, since I always rarely use this optional item. But being somewhat of a completionist, I ventured over here to obtain it. Now, you'll have to forgive me as we go forward because this was a rather insignificant little trip. So I didn't bother recording my original experience that I'm about to talk about. And I wish I did for the sake of giving you an actual visual depiction of my initial experience. But what's done is done, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to recreate it for you here. So I knew the fairy's fountain was here, so I bombed the wall, and I guess I placed the bomb in the wrong spot, and the wall didn't crumble. I thought I had a false memory and saw this gray boulder here, and for some reason thought it had something to do with the Great Fairy, so I used my gold gauntlets and threw the boulder aside. Something about this felt very unfamiliar to me. Then, underneath, it was a very odd looking patch of rock that I never recalled seeing, and it looked so weird, and I ended up destroying it with the Megaton hammer, and now it's gone for good, because it never respawned once destroying it. But luckily, fellow YouTuber Empty Garbage Can, great name by the way, has footage in his great walkthrough of getting all the gold Scatola tokens in the game. This rock is covering a hole, and while this is pretty commonplace in the game, there's numerous grottos throughout the game that are accessed by destroying boulders. But this gray boulder led to another rock, and there's no rocks that look like this anywhere in the game. And this isn't a grotto. So what's inside? Well, upon discovering this hole, I popped on in and I saw nothing but this long corridor. So I made my way up the slope and could hear the scratching of Scatolas, but I could not see where they were. Was there another level layered upon this place? So I came to the end of the corridor and climbed a rather lengthy ladder. No, not as long as Snake Eater's ladder, as you could see, and finally saw a Scatola, and a gold Scatola. Now, I've never collected all the gold Scatola tokens in this game ever, but knowing there was another one here after all these years was pretty shocking to me. The thing is, I don't think I ever came here with the silver gauntlets. After visiting the Spirit Temple, I never returned here to the best of my recollection. As a matter of fact, if you look where you are now, you will be able to gaze out from the cave opening, and you'll notice this is the very ledge I mentioned before that's visible from the lake below. So I decided to turn around and decided to investigate those Scatola sounds that I heard earlier. And sure enough, I was able to Z-target something. And I looked at Navi's information that she provided, and it did confirm that there was a Scatola present. They were near the ceiling, apparently. And I was like, what the fuck? Where are they? So I instantly knew what I had to do. I took out the lens of truth, and sure enough, there were 4 invisible Scatolas. And I don't know what it was, but seeing their underbellies just appear in front of me just freaked me out. I was like, how the hell did I even avoid going past these guys in the first place? Second of all, how did I not come to this place at all as a kid? Because I explored a lot in this game back in the day. In addition to all those thoughts, where else are there invisible enemies besides a floor master in the Shadow Temple and Bongo Bongo? Whatever it was, this place, this small little section in what's a pretty big adventure felt very unwelcoming, very mysterious, very creepy, and just felt like a real anomaly, to be quite frank. It just felt like a real, weird, strange place to be. And after all these years of it going unbeknownst to me, this place could be best described as a liminal space. And although there are plenty of places, especially in dungeons, that could be considered liminal and transitory, this space just hits different and feels more like the traditional liminal spaces people have come to fear. Plus, try experimenting with the Scatolas in this room. It's so narrow and cramped that they behave rather oddly. If you move behind them, they will try to crawl back up to the ceiling but fail, stuck in this endless loop of bouncing. It just is so peculiar. Interestingly enough, the only way out of here once you fall down is to jump off the ledge I mentioned before. Upon further inspection of the ledge from down below, when I came here to get footage for this video, you can actually see the Scatola near the ledge. How did I not notice this ever? I have to say, I never thought of Zora's Fountain or Zora's Domain as the least bit creepy, but now after 2 decades, I can safely say I can never look at this place the same way again. This cave just felt off. It just doesn't even seem like a place that should be here. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're supposed to be here. There's a gold Scatola, after all, and the developers went through the trouble of devising this whole part of the game. But it just feels so unique, because there's really no other place in the game that has this kind of uniqueness to it, just to obtain these gold Scatola tokens. It just feels over-elaborate, would be the best way to put it when comparing it to the way you obtain all the other tokens, such as just bombing a wall or just seeing one on the side of a house. The developers deliberately went out of their way to creep you out. And you know, I really like this part of the game, and I'm glad they did. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it after I experienced it. And I just wanted to share it with all you guys. I think this is just a testament to how truly great Ocarina of Time is. We are still talking about this damn game that came out in late 1998 and still finding new things to talk about. So let me know what you think, guys. Tell me in the comments below. Have you ever been here before? Or is this the first time you're ever hearing about it? I'd be really interested to know. And like the video if you enjoyed what you saw here today, or hit dislike if you fucking hated it. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.